today's session, we're going to finish up our conversation on the process tools. So to get to the process tools page, again, just here, 4 key functions, or you can also do it through the organization chart and click on a job description and then click on the process from there. Let's go back here. So just to recap, this is the process tools page. Last week we talked about building work plans and checklists. So the work plans is here at the top, and the work plan is, a step-by-step set of tasks, instructions on how that process is done. So you want to think clear, specific tasks, write the tasks in bullet point or step format like this here rather than in paragraphs. Remember, you can do hyperlinks. You can do hyperlinks throughout all the tools, but utilize these hyperlinks wherever you have the opportunity to do that. A process can have more than one work plan. So you see I've got 2 here, one for generating referrals from clients, another for generating referrals from alliances. So if you've got more than one workflow that happens in the process, then build more than one work plan. We also discussed checklists, which is the next tool down here. So checklists are for quality control. You can take a work plan like this one and turn it into a checklist just by clicking this little check mark icon and then saying OK. And now I've got 2 duplicates here, but this is what that function does. It takes the tasks of the work plan and turns them into a checklist, putting the tasks next to the checklist boxes. Or you can build a checklist independent of a work plan just by clicking the title, putting in the name, hitting create. So let's go on and talk about scripts next. So the script template is for documenting a conversation, any verbal interaction that happens in the process. So normally how it occurs, or how you know that you need a script, is you're here in your work plan and you're documenting the tasks of the work plan, and you get to a place where somebody needs to have a conversation. So they need to call someone, they need to answer questions verbally, and then in the task you can refer to the script. So you can say, make phone call, use the initial call script, and then make a hyperlink to it. So we isolate the scripts from the work plans themselves. In other words, we don't put the words of the conversation inside the work plans, typically, because it's nice for someone who's learning this to be able to see the script independently of all the other tasks that are here in the work plan. And it's easy to zero in on it when it's its own template. Oftentimes when employees are learning a script for the first time, or even for the first month of their employment, they can have these scripts open in front of them while they're actually speaking it. So clearly that only works if they're on a phone call when they're delivering the script. If they're in face-to-face in front of a prospect or whoever they're speaking to, they're going to need to memorize these scripts. So to build a script, it's the same way as the work plans and the checklists. You just put in the script name. So if it's a script, there's just going to be one, and it's specifically related to a work plan. You can call it like referral development script, or just call it referral development. People will know it's a script because it's going to be under the script header here, but if you want to put the word script at the end of it, that's fine. Define your script here in the objective. So why is it used? When is it used? What's the purpose for its use? So think of a sentence or a phrase where you're giving some context to this. So you're explaining in what situations it's used. What's the purpose behind it? Then you hit Create Script. Now this template's got these 2 columns. There's the prompt side and the script side. The prompt is the explanation of what's happening. So it's the when, the why of it. It could be the beginning of the conversation, so it's a greeting. It could be a question. So these are all the prompts. You're kind of giving an explanation for why the employee would then go over here to the script side and say these words. So these are the actual words that are spoken. So it toggles back and forth like this. The prompt is the greeting, the question, the explanation of when it's being said, and then the words or the script side are the words that are actually spoken. If this is a conversational script that starts with a greeting and goes all the way to the end of the conversation, then you want to add script items as the conversation goes on. So you would provide the next prompt, like if yes or if no, and then again you go over here to the script side and say the words that are spoken if someone says if yes, and then you save it. And then you go to the next point in the conversation. If they say no, then what are the words that you say? The prompt side can give a more detailed explanation of what's going on here. So you can say things like meet objections or how to meet objections. And then over here you can put how you would respond to those objections in the actual words you would say. So the toolbar item for the scripting is is almost identical to the other tools, although it does not have the image uploader. So you can't upload images into scripts, and that's just because that it doesn't really go well with scripting. Scripting are something that you say. You're not describing something you're seeing. You're more stating things. So this is all drag and drop like the other tools, so I can pull these prompts and scripts up and down to reorder them if I want to. Again, I'll click to edit. So let's talk about some different types of scripts and how you might use them more on a development level. So there are generally 3 different types of scripts that I see. There's probably more, but these are 3 to keep in mind. This is called, the one you're looking at now, is called a conversational script. So this is a conversation that someone would have that typically starts with a greeting and goes all the way down to the end of the conversation. So scripts like this are for phone calls, they're for presenting something, explaining something. These conversational scripts are common in sales processes, service delivery, customer service, employee management can have some conversational scripts. So if your process has this verbal interaction and you know it is some type of conversation, then go to a script like this one. So a good way to start it off is with the greeting. Hi, thank you for calling, whatever your greeting is. And then think about the next point in the conversation. Once someone has introduced themselves or they say who's calling, then maybe to say why they're calling. Like, did you receive the letter I sent you? If yes, this is what they say. Try to schedule the appointment. How do you schedule the appointment? If they say no, they didn't receive the letter, how do you deal with that? What do you say? Explain how your service works or what you're trying to accomplish. So in these conversational scripts, the prompts kind of break up the conversation. So if you're writing a bunch over here, think about what it sounds like when somebody is reciting all of that. Think about whether you want to have some pauses or you want to have questions like, does that make sense? Do you have any questions? Can I tell you about this? So imagine it being a real conversation and break the prompts up into the sections of the conversation where you want people to pause and listen. That would be another thing to put in prompts. So stop, listen to what the prospect has to say or listen to what the employee has to say. Ask another question could be another prompt, and then over here would be example questions they might ask. So in these conversational scripts, what you're attempting to do is document how it should happen. So if everything is going the way it should, how would this conversation flow? Now, we all know that there are if-thens in conversations. You know, people ask questions you've never heard of before, say things that aren't in the process. So for these conversational scripts, focus on what is consistent. What is the standard way the conversation flows, and what are the best techniques to keep it flowing? So this is one of the great values of scripts, is that you can train your employees in these techniques. So if a prospect or whoever it is throws the conversation off into some other direction, the script should show them how to get it back on track. So even if I'm down in here in this prompt and this script item, and then the person asks me a question that kind of throws me off track, I can answer that question, but then I know I need to come back down to this prompt eventually. I need to get the conversation back on track. And that's one of the techniques of a great salesperson or a great customer service person, that they listen to these things that might get it off track, but then they pull it back to, how do I meet the objective in the end? How do I get it back to where there's this understanding that needs to happen in the end? For those questions or things that kind of throw the conversation off track, you can also have what we call a frequently asked questions script. So that's the second type of script. So we've got the conversational, and then we have a frequently asked questions, or sometimes it's called objection scripts. So this is a separate script, and this is just meant to be a series of prompts and questions that don't flow in any particular order. They're just things that may or may not come up. So what the value of this script is where there is a dearth of information or issues with the initial call script or the conversation script, where it might not meet everything that a prospect typically would say or do. The frequently asked questions script is supposed to fill in those variables. It's supposed to fill in for all the things that may or may not happen. So the prompt in this type of script is a question. It's a situation that comes up. It's an objection that is presented. And then the script side is, what the person says, how they answer that question, how they deal with that objection. So this goes back and forth, again, in no particular order. And it's meant for the employee or the person using it to memorize these situations or objections or questions or issues that come up. So to develop these frequently asked question scripts, a good way to do this is just to brainstorm with the people who actually do this work. So this is the referral development process. Maybe you have a sales team, you sit down with them and say, what are all the objections that you hear when you're trying to get referrals from clients, or when you're trying to close a deal, or when a customer calls in with a complaint? So whatever the process is, sit and just brainstorm it and just list out all these different objections that come up or questions that get asked, and then sit with everyone and answer them. Talk about the best techniques for answering or dealing with these questions. You can broaden it out from there and have the prompt be like dealing with a negative prospect or dealing with a negative employee. Well, what are some techniques or ways that your people have used to kind of change the mood of that person or that prospect? You've got, unless you don't have employees, you've got a team of people who literally do this work. So over time, they've developed techniques to alleviate some of these questions, concerns, objections, and you want to capture those. What's very sad is when you've spent, if you're a manager or even an owner, and you've spent years training employees and then they leave and they take all that valuable information with them. So tap your employees for what are the best ways to answer objections and questions. There's also the third type of script is what I would just call like a static or a stable script. And this is like leaving a voicemail message, or what is your voicemail you're supposed to sound, what's supposed to say. So these are generally scripts that are said the same way every time. So the prompt is, the situation, like leaving a voicemail message or setting up your own voicemail, setting up your vacation message, things like that. And then the script are just the exact words that you want said. So conversational scripts, scripts that kind of flow from a beginning to an end, always accompanied by a frequently asked question script. which are the different questions or situations that may come up, and then you may also have these static or stable scripts like leaving a voicemail message. One of the huge benefits of scripts, I mean there's a lot, I'm a big fan of scripting, but one of the biggest benefits I see is you're able to take experience, so actual time experience that people have garnered over the years, and put that into some documented content that can be easily transferred to another employee. So there's a huge benefit in that. It's not perfect, it's not going to work perfectly every time, but what if you could take 75% of what you know about selling your products or services and put it into a script that somebody could learn, this initial call script with a few frequently asked questions. There's always going to be things where they need more information. The employee needs more information to answer that question, and that's a learning process as well. But what if you could even get 50% there just by having good scripts? It'd be huge. So think about what kind of scripts would be great for your business and start to document them. The next tool down is called the Uploaded Files tool. And what happens with the uploaded files is you can take documents, anything that's Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or a PDF document, and upload it to the process. So here's what an uploaded file looks like once it's been uploaded. If I wanted to view this file, I just hit View File, and now TouchStone's launching whatever software program this was updated in or uploaded in. So this is a Word document. And then I click on it, and TouchStone will launch Word and open it. So whatever software program this tool was this document was uploaded in is what TouchStone will launch. So if it's Excel, it's going to open Excel and show you the spreadsheet. If it's Word, it's going to open Word. So to upload a file, I just click the title here, so same as the other tools. And then I'm going to put in the name of the file. You have to put in a name, otherwise it won't upload it. You can put in the objective, the purpose of it, how is it used, what's it here for. You hit Choose File, and then you find an uploaded file. Open. So you're searching your network at that point, find the file, hit Create File, and then TouchStone takes that document and uploads it to the process. So use the Uploaded Files tool when you have a spreadsheet, something in Excel that is used in the process. If you have a PowerPoint presentation that is used in the process. If you've got like a PDF manual of any kind that shows detailed information that somebody needs when they're in this process. If there's a Word document that you want to keep in Word format or a PDF, then upload that. The Uploaded Files section gets to be a nice place where people can find your most current documents. So the things that are the most current and the master document used. A lot of times on messy networks, we get into this situation where people are accessing documents and then they do file save as, and then suddenly, everyone's got 10 copies of the same document all on their individual networks, and then if somebody goes and looks, well, where's the master document? You don't really know. So if you can keep your master documents all up to date and current in TouchStone, then your employees will learn over time that they can always go to TouchStone and find what the most current document is. Also use the Uploaded Files area to upload resources. So like in referral development, for example, if you have some manuals on generating the best referrals, you can upload those manuals. Or imagine if this was like a vehicle and equipment process. And so we uploaded PDF manuals of how to use that the manufacturer gives you on how to use certain equipment in vehicles. A lot of times manufacturers will have, or sometimes they'll have tutorials on their websites that are actually on the web, which is nice. And you can make hyperlinks to those. But if you do have these manuals that some companies still default to, then you can, again, upload those whole manuals. And then this uploaded files area can be like this resource center for your processes, and people can know if they want to learn how to use a certain equipment or office printer or whatever it is, they can go and find the manual right inside the process. When you've uploaded a file, if you want to edit that file, you hit this little edit pencil here, and now I can go to choose file and replace an old file with a new file. So if I hit choose file and went back to here and hit update and then saved it, now I've replaced that old file with a new file I just found. So when you launch a file and it's opened up in Excel or in Word, if you make changes to that file, those changes aren't happening in TouchStone. They're happening in Word and Excel. So you'll need to save the file and then go and re-upload it by clicking here again on this edit pencil and then replacing the old one with the new one. The disadvantage of uploaded files is just what I said. It's the fact that if you edit something, you need to save it and re-upload it. So that's the main disadvantage to having something be an uploaded file. So if you have a PDF picture, or if you have a text that you can cut and paste from Word, you can use the form tool here to store that text, and I'll show you that here in a second. But if you have a spreadsheet or a PowerPoint presentation or a form a complicated Word form that kind of links to other forms, then they'll need to be uploaded files because you'll want to preserve them in those software formats. So let's talk about this next tool, the form tool. So here, when we're having a new release at the end of the summer, and it's going to be a redo of our control panel and management review on the home screen, which I'm going to be highlighting towards the end of today's session. But with that new release, we're going to be changing the name of this form tool to document, because really all it is a blank Word document. So I just clicked on this form and it opened, and you can see from this toolbar that it looks very similar to a Word document. You can build forms, column forms, by using this icon here, and you hit insert, and so then here's a form that you can build, and you can highlight this and go and put put color or border around it if you like. It allows you to do the columns and rows just like you would build a normal form. You can put insert columns before or after. So it's got table building, which was very similar to Microsoft Word. So you can continue to build forms like this if you like, or any forms that already exist are going to be preserved. Nothing will change. We're just changing the title because of the fact that we released this not too long ago, the custom form tool. So what I want to say about this form tool, or what is to become the document tool, is it's a good place to put in text like this. So if you've got a Word document full of information like on how to generate better referrals or anything related to the process, a letter, sample emails, any kind of content that doesn't fit into the work plans or the other tools for whatever reason, you can use the form tool kind of as a catch-all for that. So you can cut and paste this text in like I've done here with this. You can also insert images. So using the image icon here, you can display something 8.5 by 11. So if you've got a big picture that you want to show, you can put that into the form tool, and it won't be like smashed into, not that it would be smashed, but it won't be inserted into a work plan in between other tasks. It could stand alone as a big image, and then you could hyperlink it to a work plan just referencing it. So if you have big images like that, the form tool is a good place to put those. If you do want to build a table with columns and rows, you can certainly do that using the table building row. Or if you just want to put in flat text, you can do that as well. So the form tool itself is the most customizable of all the tools. It's really just like a blank Word document. Next tool down is our new custom form tool. And this is what it looks like. What the custom form tool does is it allows you to make these little cool web forms. So it's kind of like Google Forms. You put in answer, paragraph, multiple choice, checklist, or drop down sections of a form, so that the idea would be somebody goes and fills out this information. Web forms like this one are more and more common because it creates this paperless environment that I think we all are gravitating towards. So you can print these forms. So here I can export this to a PDF, and it looks fine. You know, you can fill it out with a pen if you want. Or ideally, you would use it inside of TouchStone. So here on the home screen, in the control panel feature, employees can access forms just like checklists and other tools, and they can complete them inside of TouchStone. And then a manager or even themselves can run a report and get a list of those forms. So this kind of creates this virtual paperless environment where people are on mobile devices and they're filling out information and passing it back for quantification. This is, you know, the way technology is going and pushing us all, and I think it's a really great way to gain efficiency and productivity rather than dealing with people printing things and filling them out and having files and just paper. So to build a custom form, I just click the title, so same as the other tools. Put in the title of the form, hit create. Then I've got all these options for the fields I can have in my custom form. A short answer gives someone just one field or one line. So it could be something like their name. And so they have this field to fill it out. So here on the Process Tools page, this is where I'm building the form. This is where I'm building the master documents. Where it's used is somewhere else, over here on the home screen, which again I'll show you here in a second. So this is a short answer field. Paragraph is for a longer answer, so like notes or comments. Multiple choice is just that. It gives them multiple choice answers. So this could be a question that you're asking, and then this could be the answers. You can add more answers just by clicking this plus sign. So this is giving me, you know, another answer. So I can add as many answers as I want. If I want to delete one of the answers, I just hit the negative and it deletes it. So plus adds, negative deletes, and I save it. And so this gives these, you know, multiple choice answers. The checkbox, this is like the checklist. So then again, I would give, you know, choices, and I can add or delete those choices. You can also reorder the choices just by pulling them up and pulling them down like I just did. And I hit save. Drop down. Drop down is kind of nice because it will consolidate your form a little bit. So rather than the choices being listed out here, it's in a drop down format. So in the drop down, you're going to see a list when you click, and then you can choose one of the drop down answers. So if you have a long list of choices, this is a good option. You can see here, if I hit the drop down there, it's going to give me the A, B, or C. All of these can be reordered as well. So I can move these up and move them down to kind of get a new order. Under like an ABC choice or answer, you can also do like a paragraph and put another question like why? Why did you choose that? And then I can take that and put it, you know, under. So they answer the question, then they have to put why. So use these little web forms as a way of innovating what you currently do. So if you document a process and you've had a paper form that you've used forever, think about building a little custom form for it. Even if your people aren't ready to be filling out those forms, you know, on the computer, you can print it from here and you're kind of one step closer to going virtual with your forms. Examples of when to use forms, like here in the referral process, we've got this is the referral, we call it the referral contact sheet, and so someone can put in the name of the referral or the client that they're trying to generate from and what actually happened. Another way to use the forms is for creating tests. So I think that this is a huge improvement to the learning of processes. So the idea here is an employee is put in front of this process on generating referrals when they first start, and they have to study it. So they have to go through the work plans, they watch the videos, they read the scripts, they memorize them, they look at the forms, so they learn the process. Maybe somebody talks to them about it, they listen to someone else do it, and then they have to fill out this little short answer test. So you can think of how can you question employees to see what they really know about it. Now, it's because this test is inside this process, it's like an open book test. Somebody could go and look at the work plan and answer the question, which is fine. They still have learned it. But try to make open answer questions, like things they have to think about, like what did you learn from this process? I think this is a great one. Because if someone says, I learned how to generate referrals, well, they're not a very thoughtful person. They didn't really, learn anything. So give them, drop down questions or multiple choice questions and then ask them why. So that's another probing question where you're getting at what do they really know. So testing, that's a good use of the custom form tool. In a lot of management processes, the custom form tool is great because you can do like meeting agendas inside of those processes. You can do performance review forms. You can do termination forms. You can do discipline forms or coaching forms where the manager's filling this information out and saving it, and then they've got that information stored inside of TouchStone for reference. Inside of since we released the custom form tool, inside of every function, we've created a library process called, this one is called Getting the Business Custom Forms. So inside of this one, we've taken all the forms from the previous library processes and we've put them in here for you to use. So why we did this is when we released the custom form, the existing library processes didn't have the custom forms in them. And a lot of our existing users had already downloaded those processes. So if you want the custom form for one of the library processes you've already downloaded, then you can go to the library and inside of every four of the four functions, because each of them has different library processes, and you go add from process library, and then down here you'll see custom forms or getting the business custom forms. Let me find it. And you can take that. This one's grayed out because it's already in my account, but you can take this one, add it to your system, and then you can go to it, and if there's any forms that you want, like a call tracking sheet or whatever the form is, you can use this toolbar item here, which allows you to move a process out, move a tool out of one process into another. So I could take this. Now I'm looking for the process I want to move this into, so I'd be looking for my call tracking process or cold calling process. I find it. I'm just going to choose this one, and then I hit save. And so now TouchStone's taken that custom form out of this kind of generic process and moved it into the process I want to use it in. There's a lot of great custom forms that we built for the running the business library because there's a lot of recruiting and hiring, HR, termination, stuff like that in here that's got some pretty cool custom forms. Also look here at the custom forms because there's a lot of strategy things, managerial things. There's some customer service stuff in the doing the business, and then all your sales and marketing is here. All right. So next tool down, this is called a policy note. And this is a kind of formal template for documenting a policy for the process. So a policy is something that's generally legal or compliance or safety related, something that's just, of the utmost of importance regarding the process. So if you have something like that regarding the process, then put it into a policy note. So to build a policy note, you just click the title again here. You're going to put in the name, hit create. If you ever see this, and I did this on purpose just so I could show you, this is letting you know that you already have a policy with this title. And if you want to see it, you just click this link in TouchStone. It'll take you to that. So this is about eliminating redundancy. So if you ever see this, then make sure you edit the title to something else. Hit create. Then you have this template. This is all click to edit, or I'm sorry, you click here and you can edit it. You put the from, which is usually should be a position title. So from the sales manager or from management, and then to another position title. Should never be from a person to another person. You can put in the date, the effective date, and then here's where you write the statement. So you reserve the policy note tool for things that are what you would deem as critical. So I'm just going to save this. Reserve it for things that you hold, like that you've really got to make sure employees understand. If it's just something they need to know, then you can always put it in the expectations of the work plan. But if you want it to stand out, then put it into the process. Some businesses in an employee handbook or just in a document will have like a whole list of like 50 company policies. If you have something like that, decipher what is an employee policy, like a handbook policy, and what is a process policy. And take those process policies and put them into the process that they're related to. The value in doing that is you're showing the employee that specific policy that relates to that process right inside of that process. So it gives it context. If it's just a list of general policies, it's very hard to memorize all that and to remember it. So this is why we put policies inside of the processes that they relate to. Now this is separate from just, company-wide HR policies, which should be in an employee handbook. These are things, again, that are just related to your specific processes. Another way to think about policies is to use them as a way to affect change. So we all kind of experience frustrations in the business that could be related to, employees just not following rules, not you telling them but they don't remember. Sometimes it exists because you had a manager or a negative employee in place that's kind of tainted people's perceptions of things. So if you want to make a change, you want to kind of cut something off and start something new, then affecting a policy can be a good way to do that. It's called rules management. So create a rule, create a policy, and then send it out company-wide and have people agree to it. And that's kind of a way of drawing a line in the sand and saying, now we're going to do this in a different way, and this is why, and this is why it's beneficial. But the old way is over, this is the new way. Last two tools here are for uploading video and audio to the process. So the audio is mainly for training purposes. So if the process lends itself to a video or an audio file, then definitely utilize these two tools. If you can shoot a video either with your phone or a screen capture video on your computer, then definitely do it because it's a great way to enhance the training. So the work plan is kind of like the textbook. It's the written out step by step, and then a video is a visual representation of it. So not all processes can have visual representations, and you'll know if yours can or it can't. If it does, then spend a few minutes just shooting a quick little video. These don't need or should not be big Hollywood productions. I mean, don't do that because if you spend a lot of time and money shooting expensive training videos, before you know it, things are going to change, and then you're going to have to update the video. So I think videos get a bad rap because of this, because they do take a lot of time if you view them that way as big productions. and then 6 months later it has to be changed. Or more importantly, you figure out a way it could be better, but then you don't want to have to reshoot it because you already did all that 6 months ago. So make them easy. Nowadays with phones and iPads, we all can shoot videos rather quickly and easily. So shoot it with your phone. Make it very casual, and then upload that video to TouchStone. Or use the tool I showed you last time, Jing, this one, and do a screen capture video just for 5 minutes. Say, open this, go here, click this, here's the spreadsheet, fill in this cell. So you follow the work plan like it was the step-by-step that it should be, and then shoot a video of that with you speaking about it. You can see in this free version of Jing I've got 5 minutes, but once I hit my 5 minutes, I can finish this, upload this video, and then I could shoot another 5 minutes. Or you can buy Camtasia, which there's a link right here. Camtasia is about $100, and it's a pretty diverse, great screen capture software tool. And it produces different file formats, all of which are acceptable inside of TouchStone. It's a little fancier, and you can do longer videos. Speaking about length of videos for a minute, short training videos are best because you lose people's attention after a while. So I think even 5 to 10 minute short videos are better than a 30-minute video. So break it into sections where it makes sense and have shorter videos. Although videos are great, and I think visuals are fantastic, they don't replace the documentation. So you can't consider the process fully documented if all you have is a video. And the reason is videos are difficult to remember completely, and they're also hard to reference. So if you're explaining steps of a process in a video and someone forgets step 2 or they forgot step 5, they're going to have to watch the video, rewind it, rewatch it, rewind it, rewatch it, find the right place. It's not an effective way for reference. And so that's what your work plans are for. So to upload a video, you just click the title here, and then you put in the name, like everything else. What is the name of the video? If I can spell it right. Put in the objective. What's the purpose? What is the video here to do? Hit choose file, find the video. MP4 is the best file format. All these others are acceptable, but this one's probably the most common. It has to be an MP4 file. So if your videos are not MP4, you can easily convert them, and there's video conversion, free video conversion tools on the internet, or Camtasia will do it. And Camtasia also condenses videos. So you hit choose file, find the video, and then the video will start to upload, and you'll see a little completion bar. I don't know if I have a video here I can show you. You'll see a little completion bar happening, and you watch as the completion bar goes through. I don't think I have it. Oh, there's one. So this is the completion bar, and you'll see the timing of it as it sucks the video in. It's literally taking a copy of the video and uploading it to TouchStone. It takes about 1/3 of the length of your video to upload. So if you have a 5-minute video, it's going to take 1 or 2 minutes for it to upload to TouchStone. Once it's uploaded, you hit save, and then that video now lives in TouchStone. And if I hit play here, then the video would start to play. You can download videos that you've uploaded. So this is uploading a new video, which allows you to, replace this old one with a new one if you like. This will move the video from one process to another, like I showed you before with the custom forms. This downloads your video. So even though you've uploaded your videos to TouchStone, you don't lose them forever. If you decide to quit TouchStone, you just hit the download button and it'll download your videos. You can archive videos, and then the black X is delete. Audio is the exact same idea as video. Put in the name, hit choose file. MP3 is the acceptable file type, which is most common for audio files anyway. Hit save, and then you upload your audio file. Audio files are I think, a really great thing to have when you've got a script. So when you have a script, you could do a role play of that script, or you could record someone saying something, even a live conversation on the phone, and then upload those videos or audios so that when someone's learning again, they can listen to the videos. This is a nice technique, like here's a sample referral conversation that someone can listen to, but then here's another one on what not to do. I think this is a clever way for training. How is it not supposed to sound? And it's very easy when you've got the scripts, because you can read the script, say you talk really fast or you speak with not an exuberant voice. So you can do these different techniques to kind of show people, how do you want it to sound? How does it sound when someone's doing it their best? So this is the process tools. Remember what I said in the beginning, that work plans are mandatory. Every process should have a work plan. That's the step-by-step, the overall documentation, the overall training for your process. All the other tools are as needed. So decide if you need a checklist or a script or a file or a form. If you do, then build it and then hyperlink it back to the work plan where it's used. We're going to talk about the system of the week, which is sales follow-up. But before we do that, I just want to show you what it looks like if somebody is accessing the referral process and using it inside of their TouchStone account. So I'm just going to go to another browser here. And I'm logged in as John Black. He's just a user. And so this is what it looks like when a user that you've set up in your system logs into TouchStone. They don't have account administration up here because they're not administrators, they're just users. When they go to the 4 functions and look around, they're going to see processes that are on the job descriptions they have access to, but all these others are grayed out. When they go to the org chart, they're going to see the processes illuminated that they have access to, but the ones that they don't are grayed out. So if I was John here and I was going to go and generate referrals today, I'd go to my control panel. So this is where he uses it. This is where the processes are used. I have my little work groups here where I can organize processes into categories. If I hit the referral development process here, this is what it looks like. In the new release of the control panel, these fields are all going to be collapsible. There's a lot of cool functionality coming to the control panel, which will make it a little tidier and kind of easier to use. But as it stands now, if I was learning this process anew, I might go to the work plans up here, read, study them, then save them as I did them, as assigned to my manager that I've read it and studied it. I might have to go down and complete this referral test. So here's the test. These fields are all live now, so I would answer all of these questions. Save it. So this is someone doing the test. If there was a video in the test or in the process, I could go to the training video, I could watch it, and then I save it as watched, or I just save it. So this is can be in this example like e-learning, where they're sitting down, reading, studying, watching the scripts, looking at the files, watching the videos, listening to the audios, and then doing the test. On a day-to-day basis, if the process had a custom form in it that I needed to fill out, or a checklist like this one that needed to be done every time I did the process, I could go and fill those out. And then I save them back to TouchStone. So this is someone using the process like I've been talking about on their control panel. Now here, if I go back to me as I was logged into before, I've got a control panel for the manager of John, who's down here. So if I click John's name in management review, I could go to this referral process. I could see that he watched this. I could go down and look at his test right here. So I see the test that he completed. I hit go. I can look at it and see how he did it. If I'm happy with how he's learned this and he completed the test okay, I can mark him as trained, which puts these little flags next to it. So that's a sign to him and to everyone else looking at it that he's been trained. In the test process or whatever process, I can also keep little training notes. So I can add a training note. how he answered the test. I can say, you got this wrong, that wrong, do this again, and then I hit save. Then when John logs back in as him, if he goes to the notes field, he can see what I've said about it. Or as a manager, I can also go up here to management review, and I could run a report. So if I'm having employees learn or filling out checklists, or I had them do the test, I could go and choose today's date or the date range. I could look for a specific user or something that it's saved as, and then if I hit run report, I'm going to see, here's John right here, and I'm going to see what he's done. So here's the test. Here's the video he watched with a little note saying watched. So the reports field is just a way to more globally look at things rather than diving into someone's control panel and looking at it. So let's go to the process of the week. So I chose this process, sales follow-up, just because I like this process, first of all. But secondly, I was having a meeting with, it's a longtime user of ours, and he was just expressing frustration on just getting sales up, getting his conversion rates up. And so we talked about the sales follow-up process and how it's so easy for salespeople to just let things go and move on to the next thing. And he was specifically complaining about the amount of money he spends on leads. And then once those leads get into the conversion process and they don't convert, what a big waste of money that is. Well, there's something to be done about that, and it's called sales follow-up. So depending on your type of business that you're in, sales follow-up can happen over the phone. Sales follow-up even in a retail environment could be somebody calling a customer and saying, hey, how's that dress fitting you today, or whatever the situation is. Sales follow-up is done nowadays a lot through email marketing campaigns, followed also by some phone calls. So those of you who have CRMs, you can set this kind of system up where the follow-up happens with a series of emails that go out with maybe a sprinkling of phone calls as well, because emails aren't only enough. But when a actual sales presentation has happened, whether it be short or long, and the prospect says no, that it's not always a hard no. It's no, not right now. No, I'm going to look at this competitor. No, I'm too busy. And all of that leaves room for follow-up. The person that gets remembered is the person that follows up. Even if you have a customer or a prospect that went to another competitor, maybe they don't end up being happy with that competitor. But if your salespeople are always on, have top-of-mind awareness either through emails or phone calls or just a casual, hey, how's it going today, you're going to be remembered. And the brand loyalty to your company and the good feeling your company gives off because of that is immense as well. So here's just a few statistics. Why 8% of salespeople get 80% of the sales? Or the 80-20 rule is also pertains here. We always say, well, he's a good salesperson. Well, she's a good salesperson. What makes the difference between those people and all the rest of the people? And a lot of times it's follow-up. And salespeople give up 44% after one no, 22% after two no's, 14% after three, 12% after four. I think 4 no's, 4 to 7, depending on your type of business, is sufficient. But if someone gives up after 1 or 2 no's, that is there's an opportunity there. So this is the sales follow-up process. It's in the library. This is a process kind of full of ideas. There's not a set, do this, do that, step-by-step work plan in this. It's full of ideas. So it's meant for you to kind of customize it, decide what you want to use and what your own version of this is. So there's follow-up. I think there should be 2 work plans in a process like this. Follow-up after the sales presentation, after you've tried to sell and they've said no. And these are some techniques for following up after a sales presentation. One of the best, when someone says not right now or no for now or call me back in 6 months, is to set an appointment to call them back. Get them back on your calendar. Whether they show up for that appointment or not doesn't matter. You have a time to call, and you have a reason for calling back. You can say, we talked 2 weeks ago, and you said to call you, when you got back from vacation on the 15th, so I'm calling today. It shows conscious, thorough follow-up. So follow-up after the sales presentation, and then there's long-term follow-up / checking in. So here's some strategies for that. Send emails, plan out phone calls, think about what was something the person said they were interested in, and then maybe send them an article on that. Educate them, attempt to educate. We call it raising the free line. So give it away for free. Give as much away for free as you can, because the more you give away for free, the more good feeling you're going to create with that customer. So long-term, short-term follow-up right after the sales presentation, and then long-term. Here's a few scripts. So these are just some ideas on what you would say. Here's that one, getting commitment to follow up. I'll be glad to follow up with you. When can we do that? Here's a long-term follow-up script, checking in, sharing ideas and insights. So this is raising the free line, continuing to educate. Here's some other ideas you'll see in the forms tool here, some ideas on leaving voicemail messages if they haven't replied. So there's all these different ideas here. I created this custom form as well. Those of you who have CRMs may have this inside your CRM system, but remember, TouchStone is the standard operating procedures for your CRM. So it explains the details on how to follow up, when to follow up, what to say during follow-up, and then it could have links to your CRM where people add notes. But if your CRM doesn't have fields that are comprehensive enough, like I think this one is, then you might think of having a custom form in addition to what happens in your CRM. These can always be downloaded and uploaded to your CRM if you want to keep them there, or clearly they can be inside of TouchStone. It's good to plan out the call. So what are the goals of the call? What are the goals of the prospect that you remember in that initial conversation? Ways that you're going to help the prospect fulfill their goals, objections they raised, answers, responses to your objections. Do you feel like you met the objections? Ways to ensure prospect satisfaction. So every single, you've spent money on that lead and you've spent money on that sales presentation. So having someone sit down and really think about this for 10 minutes after the presentation and fill all this in and then have it guide their follow-up, that's worth it's worth a half an hour. It's worth 2 hours, in my opinion. So get your salespeople thinking about this. So when they do call that person 4, 5, 6 months from now, they can remember exactly what their technique is going to be on how to talk to them again. These forms can also be used in your sales meetings. So we were talking before about, creating your objection scripts or your frequently asked questions scripts. These forms can be useful with that because your salespeople are listing out these objections, and maybe they hear the same ones all the time. If they do, then there should be really stellar answers for those objections. But maybe they've heard some from this prospect and not from another, so they can run a report, call up these forms, and then you all can discuss them in the sales meeting. So this is the sales follow-up process. Your version of this might look very different depending on the industry that you're in. The library process is, again, full of information that's meant to you kind of customize and make your own. Any questions? I missed questions last time, so I want to make sure I don't see any questions. Does anyone want to ask me a question live time? I know we're out of time, but I'll give you a few seconds here if you do. No? I do have a question. Yay. I'm going to unmute your phone so you can ask me. Are you there?
I am. I have a quick question.
Hi.
I wanted to find out when you start a checklist on a process, can you save it and be able to pick it back up the next day? Where could you find that, and if so?
Yeah, definitely. So you access it here in the control panel, and I'll go to this referral one since we're used to seeing it. And so if you're going to fill out this checklist today, you'd go to the checklist and you'd fill it out. And maybe you don't do all the boxes, you just do what you're supposed to do that day and you save it. Then if I go back and I look in this folder called completed right next to the checklist, there's my checklist. So I hit go, and now I'm back on it, and I can go and fill out the rest of it. So every time you save it, it's saving it back to TouchStone, and the place to find these saved checklists are to go to this completed folder next to it, and then I'm going to see all the checklists that I've done over time. You can also go to the reports tool here if you don't want to look inside the control panel for whatever reason and you know you completed it today. You could go search for a date range. You can even search for checklists just specifically and then hit run report, and then here's that checklist again. So this is just another way to find it. And if I click this, it's opening it. It's opening it back to my I'm live back in my control panel now with this checklist, so I can continue filling it out and save it again. Anyone else? Any other questions? No? I just want to remind everyone too about, let me get rid of that. I just want to remind everyone too about the Resource Center. If you ever have like a question like that one, or anything that I haven't answered for you, you can always go to the Resource Center here. You can search in the user guides. We have frequently asked questions in here in the knowledge library. Or if you can't find what you're looking for, go to contact support here. And then right here, just put the question and hit send. And someone will get it and answer it for you, as soon as they can. So remember this Resource Center just as a place where you can go to find things that you're looking for. Hopefully, it's easy to find just by searching the knowledge base, or to contact support.